In this video, I will address the evolutionary argument against naturalism. It's also an opportunity to refine the positions I stated in my third response to Inspiring Philosophy on this same topic. The evolutionary argument against naturalism can be summarized the following way. On naturalism, we are the byproducts of evolution. Evolution passes on traits that help a species survive. Therefore, it is probable that our brains have been shaped in order to recognize what is most beneficial for survival. What is most beneficial for survival does not necessarily correspond with what is real. For example, it appears that mild paranoia is a more efficient mean to survival than an actual assessment of the external environment. It follows that everything we perceive as true cannot be actually said to be true. A naturalist should not believe that anything he perceives through his senses is real, but only a belief aimed to enhance his possibilities of surviving. One of these beliefs would be that in naturalism. It follows that believing naturalism is true is a self-defeating position. This argument is not a problem if, like me, you don't presuppose we can make actual assessments about reality, but only consider what we call reality just a useful model that we use to interact with whatever is out there, if there is something in the first place. But what are the consequences of accepting such a belief? After all, don't we have the impression to be able to infer about reality? But, you may say, don't we have the impression to be able to infer about reality? That we do. But which would it be the difference in behaviors between being truly able to perceive reality as it is and having one only distorted framework through which observe reality? The answer is none, since a person who is only able to perceive reality through one distorted framework will spontaneously perceive such framework as true, since it is the only picture of reality he has, and even if he came to doubt the truth of such a framework of his, he would have no reason to change his behaviors, since this uncertain framework is the closest thing to reality he will ever come to know. Such acknowledgement would therefore have no practical consequences for us. If you already view, as I do, naturalism just as the currently most efficient worldview we can use to interact with the world, then the evolutionary argument against naturalism has no effectiveness. Some theists, like Inspiring Philosophy, might infer that this argument gives evidence that theism is true, since a god would have engineered humans with the ability to perceive reality as it is. Assuming theism is the only way we would be able to behave as if what we observe is actually real. You cannot accept naturalism and still behave as if your senses tell you what is factual. Unfortunately, as I said, there is no difference between behaving as if what surrounds you is real or just the only framework we can use to interact with external reality, rendering the evidence in favor of theism null. But that aside, the aforementioned reasoning requires the presupposition that God actually gifted humans with the ability to infer about reality. What is the reason to believe he would actually do such thing? What if he gifted humans only with the ability to perceive what is more beneficial for their survival? That might have been the most beneficial decision for us. Alone, this observation could render the inference to theism question-begging. But there is more. In order to infer that God is real through arguments, you first need to assume that such arguments allow you to infer about reality. You can't just conclude that you can infer about reality because God has engineered you and all humans as able to do such thing, because in this case you would be just presupposing that God is real. Either way, an axiomatic assumption is necessary if you wish to hold to the belief that we can infer about reality as it truly is. Basically, I argue that if the evolutionary argument works in its purpose of showing evolution as depriving humans of the certainty of being able to infer about reality, it has no consequential difference for naturalism and theism. A more appropriate name would be the evolutionary argument against realism. If I wanted to believe that I can perceive reality as it truly is, I would assume that without resorting to a supernatural speculation. Yet, no such assumption is anyway necessary, in my opinion. Rather than trying to salvage what is a useless intuitive belief, it's better to concentrate on constructing the most efficient model to interact with the outer world.